Hey, what's up, y'all? This is the Cavalry, focusing like a laser. Pretty awesome, ain't it? But see, that's what you gotta do when you want to get rid of something. And unfortunately for a lot of people, the one thing that I had to do in order to focus like a laser, in order for all of us to focus like a laser, is that I had to remove some of the people. I had to just remove them, just for a little bit. And the reason why is because there's a point in time when things are just so important. So in the case of this Dr. Laura controversy, you had a choice to lead, follow, or get the F out the way. So I had to get you the F out the way. See, when focusing like a laser, man, if y'all are sitting up there right in the midst of this stuff and y'all floating around like a bunch of moths, the laser can't properly focus, so it can't hit its target. And I'm going to explain to a bunch of people who are confused, because I've seen you guys on MSNBC and I've seen you on YouTube. I've seen you everywhere. Y'all get in the way because y'all have an idea in your head that it's your fault for slavery. It's your fault for racism. And anytime something racist pops up out of a white person's mouth, somehow it has to be the black man's fault. Everything is the black man's fault. Black women do it, black men do it, and white people overwhelmingly do it. They originated it. So let's get down to it. Stop letting them dictate the terms of racism. They want to control what's in the black rule book. What's sad is there's a bunch of black people that want to give the white people the control of the black rule book. They have slave and Jim Crow mentalities. Now, who do I have a problem with? Besides some of the people that I had to temporarily block on my page, and some people I won't bring back, but other people I will. But who do I have a problem with out of mainstream? Let's talk about Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. See, Al and Jesse, in their infinite old age, decided to blame black men for racism. So if a white male racist said, nappy-headed hoes, that was Don Imus, Jesse and Sharpton would immediately go on to national TV and say it's the rapper's fault. It's just black men's fault. They had nothing to say to the white racists, only to black men. Does that make any sense to you? And if they had anything to say to the white racists, which they should, it was negligible compared to what they had to say to strip black people of finance. Let me continue on. So, if the white female Republican racist says 11 times, nigger, 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 and this is what happens when you date out and black people vote for the black candidate or Barack Obama because he's black, and black guys on HBO says nigger all the time, and she says all this in conjunction with the N-word, Al Sharpton would then go on television and, as part of his statement to Dr. Laura, will say, and see, that's why I told you black men that you shouldn't use the N-word. As if racism and slavery was started by hip-hop artists, was started by comedians on HBO, as if HBO existed back in slavery and the Jim Crow era. Dude, that's silly, and I'm going to explain to you why. It muddied the waters. It confused a lot of black people. It gave over. I mean, this is how much they love white people. Al Sharpton does. Is that he would give over all the power to white people that pertains to the black rule book. And that's sad. Stop letting them dictate the terms of your rules, black people. I'll point out a few things, especially when voting for the black candidate, that a lot of people don't remember. Black women stated openly that they were considering voting for Hillary because of the gender factor. Do you remember that? So that's more than half of the black community right there actually going the other way. But yet, the reason why the vast majority, not old white people now, But the vast majority of people voted for Barack Obama was because he was the better candidate. He was better than McCain. He was the better candidate versus what we had before, which was the cokehead President Bush, who led us way astray and got a lot of our American heroes killed. He spent our American heroes like nickels in a useless war. That goes without saying. So, again, what does Al Sharpton do? As soon as Dr., and I put the quote marks around that because she has a gym teacher credential, he goes on with Jink on the Ed Show and has to slip in, oh, it's black men's fault. Yeah, and I know y'all wondering why he had to leave New York. It's because in that music mecca of hip-hop, they started to cut his money off. It's monetary. This is why all this is happening. I'm going to, in this video, explain to you exactly why white people want you to stop saying the N-word. And it's not for the reasons that they're listing. It's for a different reason. And the reason why this is coming out is because I'm the cavalry. There are benefits. There are reasons why they didn't want you guys to sit up there and black men in particular to intermingle with the white population. You get a deeper insight into what is actually going on, and you can confirm it instantly. It's only skin, people. But if white people are going to tell it to you, oh, it's way deeper than that. And I'm going to get into that as well. The history of slavery, a part of the history of slavery is convincing you that you being a slave was your fault to begin with. The history of racism is like this. Anti-black racism was created for economic gain to justify the continuation of slavery. It has always been about white people blaming black people for however white people wanted to treat them. It started with the so-called white man's burden. See, white people told each other that white men had to enslave, colonize, beat, degrade, and murder anyone who wasn't white for their own good. Black people were declared savages. It was their own damn fault they were enslaved. And you know a lot of black people believe this. You can hear them. But those are the weak-minded black people. If they had been more like white men, this would have never have happened. They created junk science to keep the justifications going. And some of you all will remember this. They would grab the skull of a white man and the skull of a black woman and say, look, here's a skull of a white man and the skull of a black man. It's clear that the black man's brain is smaller. And they would use that to justify their racism. Never mind that it wasn't even a black man's skull in the first place. And they probably use a big-ass waterhead skull of a white man just to add extra percentage points. And for you morons out there, women's skulls are naturally smaller than men's skulls. But brain size has no matter of fact when it comes to intelligence. And then they would talk about, look at their lips, look at their noses. Clearly these people are inferior. They can't even read. Then they would beat and murder black people if they tried to educate themselves. In the Jim Crow era, they used the same tactics. Black people are dangerous. If they weren't, we'd let them integrate. Black people are dirty. Black people are not good enough. That's why white people have to keep themselves separate. Keep them down. Otherwise, they take over and spread their black ways. You can look at every generation of America that anti-black racism has existed, and we know it. And those same very racists blame black people for the white man's racism. Yet, in 2010, when we come upon clear and obvious indications of racism, we listen to the racists who once again blame black people as if they were saying something new. Stop letting white people dictate the terms of what offends you as a people, black people. Look, y'all, don't listen to the Al Sharptons of the world. He's not capable enough to deal with this. Don't listen to the Jesse Jacksons of the world. And the reason why I can say this is if every time a white person says the N-word or something racist like date outside your race or any of these other things, oh, y'all just voted for Barack Obama without thinking about it. And the first thing you hear from Al Sharpton is, well, I tried to tell those black men over there doing hip hop, and all of us clergy members tried to tell them. Look, if this is what the Reverend's plan is, to sit up there every time a white racist says something racist in the media, that they're going to blame you black men, then stop listening to them. Obviously, they have something financial to gain from you being thrown under the bus. Hip-hop is music, just like jazz is music. And what were the Reverends doing and the ministers doing during that time? Throwing jazz under the bus.